The end of August and beginning of September conjures up different emotions for different people. But for some Gold Star families who lost loved ones during the fall of Afghanistan now 2 years ago, this time of year will always be marked with some pain and some sadness and questions for those who were in charge.
I said, Mom, Ryan's dead.
2 years have passed, but it isn't any easier for Paula Knauss Selph to talk about the death of her son, Army Staff Sgt. Ryan Christian Knauss. This is the final message he sent her on Snapchat this past Saturday, marking 2 years since he was killed in a bombing in Afghanistan as the U.S. withdrew troops after a nearly 20-year presence. Knauss was one of 13 American service members killed in what is now known as the Abbey Gate bombing.
I couldn't believe that Ron was gone.
Since that time, Selph has turned grief into action, which will be on full display this week in Washington as other Gold Star families who lost loved ones during the U.S. withdrawal will participate in a Tuesday roundtable on Capitol Hill, not only to mark 2 years, but also to bring attention to what happened.
Who is going to be taking responsibility for the loss of lives and that debacle? Is it just the military that's to be blamed? Or was it because of political decisions?
The event occurring as Republicans on Capitol Hill continue their investigation into what happened within the last month, the State Department turning over to Congress around 300 related documents. Meanwhile, a separate bipartisan Afghanistan War Commission continues its multi-year look into the conflict. The White House earlier this year posting a 12-page review about the Afghanistan withdrawal on its website, in which it placed some blame on the Trump administration for allowing the Taliban to become so organized. The White House writing, "We continue to mourn the loss of the 13 heroes and vow to continue to support their families." The question of how Americans lost their lives isn't the only political debate happening 2 years later. There remains frustration by some that the U.S. isn't issuing more visas to help more citizens of Afghanistan now trapped under Taliban rule. As for Selph, she just hopes this issue is on the minds of voters this election.
Who's going to take responsibility for causing such chaos?
Joe St. George, Scripps News, Washington.